Another variant, this was one that I think Ed Greenwood came up with in an early Dragon magazine article called the Dwerga Hydra. Dwerga Hydras were smaller than your standard Hydra. They were a medium-sized creature, and they lived underground, specifically in the Underdark.
Because the Underdark is not scary enough. Let's throw a Hydra in there.
By default, they only had 2 heads. They would keep one head sort of wrapped back around their body, almost like a hump or like, folded back wings.
Okay.
And they would use it basically as a surprise tactic. They were very agile and capable of climbing very easily, so they would be able to like scale walls and run across the ceilings and all of the things that weird lizard creatures do. And unlike most other Hydras that had a purely bestial intelligence, they had an innate knowledge that if they lost a head, they would regrow heads.
Okay.
And so they would use their head as bait to lure out things. And so particularly aggressive Dwerga Hydras would end up having like 6, 7, 8 heads. But unlike the other Hydras, because they were a much smaller frame, as they grew more heads, they would become more sluggish. And they would have a harder time moving, and they wouldn't be able to climb as well. And eventually they would be relegated to just crawling.
Okay.
And they would ultimately starve to death. And so canonically, the Dwerga Hydras are extinct in the Forgotten Realms. They have been hunted to extinction. They were initially hunted and harvested by the Illithid and the Drow because their blood could be used as a very potent component in healing potions and regeneration potions.
Understandable.
Ultimately, humans found out about them, and
there we go. Sustainable harvesting, boys and girls, is a thing.
No, wait. There was no sustainable harvesting in this. They initially tried to domesticate them, to use them as either mounts or subterranean guardians.
Okay.
And once they figured out that they could not be trained, that they were far too aggressive for that, and then by that point that they could not be kept away from human settlements, they were kill on sight.
Oh my.
And so they were eventually eradicated by humans.